Welcome back, everyone, to Legal Briefs on CP24, simulcast nationally on Court TV Canada. We're talking tonight about medical marijuana in light of a raid at a downtown Toronto hangout for medical and other people who use marijuana. I'm here with lawyer law professor Alan Young and marijuana activist Marko Ivancicevic. On the phone with marijuana activist Marc Emery and Gwen LanDOLT from the Drug Prevention Network of Canada, who we'll be getting to soon. Before we go to the phones and talk to the others, let's talk about the concerns that still come up all the time. That, as you say, we live in a country where so many people are smoking marijuana, and for those of like you gentlemen who are saying that we're so close to this decriminalization already, why don't we take that final step? There are people who are concerned and still concerned, write about it, talk about marijuana in adolescence, talk about the harmfulness that or the harm that can still cause. There are still, in other words, there is still people and groups of people and professionals who haven't bought into this issue that even that medical marijuana is proper, let alone that it should just be decriminalized. We're not there totally across this country, as you know.
Well, if people control information, which people in power can, then you're not going to move forward. And unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation when it comes to the war on drugs. And they use that term, the war on drugs. And remember, one of the tools of war is propaganda. So for you mentioned adolescent well-being. Well, I mean, we could look at many studies that show that adolescents who indulge in marijuana, not excessively, because excessive use of anything's bad, are actually very well adjusted and go on to have very productive careers. So almost every claim that I've ever heard has been contradicted, and it becomes cyclical because 40 years ago, marijuana and insanity and schizophrenia was a big deal. Then they dropped it because they had no studies to prove it, and now I notice it's come back in vogue.
Well, let's talk to, we have Gwen. Whoa, Alan, don't destroy it.
I don't want to destroy the set, that's for sure. I hope
don't get mad at me.
Okay? No, I'm not mad. I hope your audience is still there, yeah.
Gwen LanDOLT from the Drug Prevention Network of Canada. Hi, Gwen, are you with us?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Hi, thank you for joining us. You may have heard my last question to Alan and the issues. Let's talk about your organization. I know you were founded in, I think it's about 3-4 years ago. What's your position on medical marijuana use and this issue of cafes where people come in and just smoke marijuana?
Well, first of all, I think it should be made clear there's absolutely no proof that marijuana helps any medical situation. And the Canadian Medical Association refuses to dispense it because there's nothing to say that it is in fact effective. And any medical problem, they can be covered and much better with prescription drugs. It simply masquerades if someone's got a symptom of nausea. All it does is mask it, but it doesn't deal with the problem. What they need are prescription drugs, not marijuana.
Gwen, let me put that to Marko before you go on. Marko, why do you take marijuana?
Well, I've gone through extensive surgeries on my leg. I went through about 10 surgeries trying to correct many major problems. And during that time period, I was on Percocets, codeine, morphine, Demerol, you name it. And overall that time, it did nothing. It did nothing for my quality of life. Sure, it killed the pain, but it certainly didn't allow me to do anything more than sit on the couch and do nothing, but lay there. So in terms of quality of life, marijuana has vastly improved my quality of life and allowed me to look after the problems that the other medications certainly didn't help.
And Gwen, you've probably heard that before.
Well, of course, but what is the point really is, if he really thinks marijuana is that good for his quality of life, it is available in pill form. He doesn't want that. He wants to be able to smoke marijuana. And that's really the essence of the whole thing. But he likes to smoke it, but he really, really feels it's useful. And there's no proof, I'd like to make that very clear. He could take it in pill form, but why doesn't he do that? Oh, no.
I've tried it.
It doesn't make sense.
All right, you tried it in pill form?
I've tried it in pill form, and the problem with the pills that they have made is that they only take out specific compounds within THC, and there's well over 60 compounds within cannabis, and THC is one of them. So what they've done in these pills is they've only taken out several of the compounds, so you're not getting the actual full effect that you would from actually smoking.
Excuse me, but the effect is to smoke it because you want to smoke it, It really isn't the essence of the problem. And we all know, and of course Americans have pointed out many times, and especially the pro-drug people, for example, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana, they say point blank that you get more people to take it for medical reasons, and that'll lead to the legalization of it. It's a scam to try to get it legalized.
All right, Alan.
When I started the medical marijuana litigation, that's what I was accused of, the thin edge of the wedge, trying to get to legalization. And I must admit that that was my motive at the time. But then I did the research, and with all due respect to Gwen, to say there's no proof of medical value is just absolutely categorically wrong. And let me just say a couple things. First of all, cannabis was in every patent medicine until they made it illegal. So for centuries we were using it for medical purposes. We don't know the mechanism of action, but we know it works. The pharmaceutical, Big Pharma, calls cannabinoid medicines a blockbuster, meaning it'll be a multi-billion-dollar medicine, not necessarily marijuana smoking, but the cannabinoids. If Big Pharma believes that, then that means there are studies that show it. And to take it even further than just feeling better, when you gotta look, the Spanish, the Italians, and the Israelis have all found that THC has tumor-reducing properties. They're just discovering that. That is completely true.
I
Are you
think
gonna
we're
say that's
exaggerating
false?
a great deal. Because marijuana is dangerous, you have Britain, who is restricting marijuana, and even the Netherlands. And they don't do it because it's whimsical. They do it because it's detrimental. And if you want to get studies, the British Medical Journal in 2006 said there's a connection between marijuana smoking and the psychosis. A study in February 2006, the American Journal of Obstetrics. Don't call studies saying that they're all wrong.
All right,
This is people who have done thorough, objective research. And the only reason why we have medical marijuana has been legalized is because Alan Young, who's on your program, is an activist. He went before the Court of Appeal of Ontario. There wasn't a scintilla of evidence for the Court of Appeal, which is a very liberal court, that simply said that marijuana should be available
All right, Gwen, I just have
for
to...
medical purposes.
Sorry,
but they had no evidence at all, because certainly it was nothing presented to the court as evidence that it was beneficial.
Gwen, I just got to interrupt you for a second. Everybody stay where you are. Everybody take a deep breath. Lots of people on the line who want to speak about this. We'll get to your calls. Got to take a break here. We'll be right back.